Okay, so we're going to study gerunds. Now, gerunds are verbs that end in ing, and they work as nouns. Okay, so when do we use gerunds in sentences? Well, there are four ways. The first way is as a subject. Now, the subject of a sentence is usually a noun. So if you want to use a verb, you should use a gerund. Okay? Example, having to wake up early every day is not my favorite thing. So the subject of this sentence is having to wake up early every day. Having to. So I want to use a verb, have, as my subject, having. Another example, we have two subjects. This is called a compound subject. Going to bed and waking up late is my preferred way to live. So the first reason to use gerunds is as a subject in a sentence. The second reason is an object of a preposition. So this means if you want to say a verb after a preposition, we should use a gerund. Example, instead of eating. Okay, instead of is a preposition. Instead of eating at home tonight, let's go out. Another example, he is not used to doing that by himself. Sometimes to is a preposition, and sometimes to we use to introduce an infinitive verb. In the expression be used to is a preposition. Another example, the article was about living abroad. So, subjects, also objects of prepositions. And next we have subject complements. A subject complement means to give more information about the subject or explain the subject. Now, usually when we have a subject complement, the verb is be. Okay? So let's look at some examples. My favorite activity on a Sunday afternoon is, so be, so the subject, my favorite activity on a Sunday afternoon. This is my subject. I have the verb be, and then I explain the subject. So my favorite activity on a Sunday afternoon is sleeping. Okay, another example. The school's policy. This is the subject. The school's policy is not allowing languages other than English. Okay, so I say the subject, the school's policy. I use the be verb, is, and then a gerund. And here we have a negative gerund. The negative gerunds are very common. We just say not in the gerund. Not allowing languages. Okay, now finally, and this is probably the most you have to study, is objects of verbs. Okay? Objects of many, many verbs. If you want to use a verb, you have to use a gerund. Okay? Now, we have to study the list on the website because these verbs, if you want to say another verb after these verbs, you should say a gerund. Okay, so an example, she suggested. Okay, now here after suggest, if you want to say a verb, you have to say a gerund. She suggested piling. Okay, pile is a verb. She suggested piling the documents on the table. Another example, I miss what? I miss being on the beach. And finally, could you keep continue. Could you keep doing that, please? So we have to study these verbs on the website if we really want to learn the fourth way to use gerunds, and that's as objects of verbs. Good luck. Okay, in the exercises, number 1, please identify the reason for using a gerund. Okay, I explained the 4 reasons to use gerunds, and I've given you some sentences. Please decide what is the reason and just highlight the reason. Okay, in exercise number 2, you have to read the sentences, find the mistakes about the gerunds, and fix the mistakes. And in number 3, we have to complete the sentences with gerunds. Okay, now you have to decide the verb. In exercise number 3, most of the answers come from your vocabulary. Not all the answers, but most of the answers come from the vocabulary. So those are the exercises for gerunds. Good luck.